Oh, we are one love. Hear the call. Together we rise. Let compassion enthrone. In the morning light, the sun breaks free. A new day dawns. It's a sight to see. With hearts wide open, we stand as one, living in our truth, like the stars in the sun. From the mountains high to the valley low, we're spreading our wings, letting our spirits flow. In every soul, there's a spark divine, raising up the world. We're truly alive. Oh, we are one love. United we stand, bringing peace to the world. Hand in hand, waking up to nature, releasing all fears, sharing hope and compassion through the laughter and tears.
Hi, One Love family. It's Danny with Planets in Praxis, and this is your energy forecast for the month of September 2025. So this month is going to feel like a little bit of a return to normal, a little bit like you can breathe, but also a like, wait, what just happened? And that's because there's two big things happening this month. First, Saturn is returning to the sign of Pisces. So Saturn, the planet of structure and boundaries and time, is moving backwards in the sky. Since May, he's been hanging out in the sign of Aries. And now Aries is the sign of the warrior, and it's like the teenage boy, like going out and going on adventures. And Saturn is the structure, boundary, old hermit in the mountain energy. Okay, and so Saturn is how we make our days run. It's the boundaries that we put into our life to make things work. And we felt like Saturn, we can't rely on him because Saturn is trying to be a little boy when he's an old man. Okay, and that just doesn't work. That means like a bone is going to get broken, right? Like if your grandpa wants to go skateboard, that's probably not the best idea, right? And that's what's been going on since May. We felt like we can't really rely on time. Time isn't normal. Something weird is going on there, okay? Structures, boundaries, all that stuff. Now, since Saturn has returned into Pisces, this happened at the very beginning of the month, so you're already feeling this energy by the time that you're watching this on the 7th. We're feeling like, okay, things are a little bit more reliable. I know how to deal with this energy, okay? And that's because Saturn has been hanging out in Pisces for the past couple of years. It felt really weird since May when Saturn moved into Aries. Now, unfortunately, Saturn will be returning to Aries in February, so we're gonna have to deal with this energy again. But at least this time we'll know what to expect if we pay attention. That's the whole point of astrology, right? Paying attention, figuring out what to expect, how to make things work for the best of our energy, okay? So, Saturn, until February, it's going to be hanging out in Pisces. We won't have to deal with the drama of your grandpa trying to skateboard, okay? That will be nice. So you should just feel like you can rely on time a little bit more, a return to normal in that way. Now, the other big thing that's happening this month is that it is eclipse season. So eclipses, even though we only hear about them every few years whenever they're really dramatic, they happen twice a year, okay? And so when eclipse season is happening, it's kind of like the universe is kind of tapping you back onto course. And so what you can expect to happen during eclipse season is weird things that you did not expect to happen that just kind of make things make a little bit more sense. They're big beginnings or big endings. What does this mean? Like, for example, I just had a puppy left in my yard 2 days ago. So now my life is different. Now I have a puppy. Was I expecting this puppy? No. So things like that. Expect those things to happen. Those weird things of like, this was not what I was expecting. This had never in a million years is the stuff that I would expect my life to happen right now. But you know what? Okay, this makes sense. And this is the universe just tapping us back on track where we've gone off course a little bit, okay? Now, these 2 weeks between the eclipses, so right, and the whole month of September is really when you can expect this to happen, is when the veil between the worlds is considered to be the thinnest. So spirituality, being really aware, is very common during this time. So just pay attention because weird things are going to happen. Now, where they're going to show up in your chart is dependent on you, okay? So if you'd like to know more about how this is going to show up for you, you can check out my website and we can look particularly for where these eclipses are showing up for you. Now, We have another big weekend that's going to happen between the 18th and the 24th. It's going to feel like we have a complete vibe shift because all of the inner planets are going to change signs during that time, okay? Mercury is going to go into Libra, Venus is going to go into Virgo, Mars is going to go into Scorpio, and the Sun is going to enter Libra. So we're just going to feel like, you know what, okay, that was good, the summer is over, now I'm just on to the next thing. Now there's also a little bit of background spiciness, I would call it, going on in the background because we have Mars is going to square, has already squared Jupiter on September 4th, but we're still feeling that frustration energy, and Mars is going to square Pluto on September 24th. So this is just some background frustration energy. This is background like fight energy because Pluto is this unavoidable truth that we have to see, and it's been hanging out in the sign of Aquarius, showing us the systems in the world that we live that we are frustrated with. And Mars is the warrior energy that is going to go make things change and make things with a fight, make things change. So we're going to feel this frustration energy just going on in the background. It's probably not going to be something giant that shows up for you, and maybe something giant that shows up for the collective, but for you it's just where do things need to change, just a little fighting energy. So just be aware that that's going on in the background as well. But in general, we get a little bit of a breather, we can rely on time again, and then unexpected beginnings and endings. It's going to be a great month. If you'd like to know more about how this shows up for you in your chart, you can check out my website, planetsandpractice.com, and I'll see you in October.
Good morning, family. Good morning. Welcome to our Sunday morning connection time, devotional service. It's time for us to be together in this space and lift each other up, gather in around this movement of consciousness and higher beingness. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for continuing to support and be a member of a group of people, a spiritual community that is endeavoring to live the frequency. In fact, that's all we've been talking about for the last long while is living in frequency. And we have committed to practicing love, joy, and peace as our daily practice. And that's why I'm excited about where we're headed over the next 7 weeks. We are now entering our Spirit Expressing season. Some of you may be a part of book groups that are gathered in around the book by Bruce Lipton, Dr. Bruce Lipton. Why can't I say that name today? Dr. Bruce Lipton, who is a wonderful doctor, a medical doctor, taught in medical school, spent a lot of time doing a lot of research in his own lab work, and just discovered that the gene is not activating on its own. It's being activated by the environment that we create, and that led him to write a book that was really pivotal in modern science that is titled The Biology of Belief. And essentially, he found out through study and through research that we are not victims of our environment. We can determine our environment. This is something that's been being taught by the wisdom of the sages for ages. And now science is essentially backing that up. And so we're in the Spirit Expressing season, and we're coming with our series, our chakra series today, starting with the root chakra. And we are dealing with being aligned and activated. That is the overarching title of the series, Aligned and Activated. Before we get into talking about root chakra today, though, I want to talk about the moon just a little bit. I was overjoyed to find out that this is going to be an eclipse tonight, and that eclipse for over an hour, I believe the number was 1 hour and 42 minutes, is going to be red in color. And it's so interesting. When the moon blushes red and it slips into Earth's shadow, the sky it's not just performing an astronomical event. It's staging a cosmic sermon of sorts. It allows us to tune into the deeper significance of what that is. And the first level of significance I'd like to share with you for you to consider today is shadow and revelation. It's a lunar eclipse, and it happens when the Earth comes directly between the sun and the moon. Spiritually, that's the symbol of the shadow being revealed, our subconscious hidden patterns, our ancestral imprints, and maybe collective wounds step into the spotlight. It's really as if the cosmos says, look, what you usually hide in the dark is now illuminated by shadow itself. This is really, to me, a powerful invitation to release, to forgive, and to integrate the truths that you've been learning. The blood moon frequency that we're about to experience, this blood moon frequency, the moon turns red because of refracted sunlight, and it's bending through the Earth's atmosphere. And we know that that's the science behind it. Red is primal. It's the root chakra energy. That's why I got excited. We're talking about the root chakra. It's the energy of life force. It's the energy of grounding, survival. And we're going to talk about how to reevaluate what survival really is. In spiritual traditions, though, red often is a signal of purification through intensity. It's an eclipse form. It's like spirit putting the root system of your soul through a detox. What's been stagnant in survival of fear or control gets flushed out so that you can stand in a freer, more whole existence. And then another symbol around this is death and resurrection cycles. We see the death and resurrection cycles, and every eclipse is a mini death and resurrection portal. The moon disappears and then reappears, reminding us that endings are really illusions. The mystics would have said, what fades only returns in a new form. Eclipses are really thresholds. They're liminal spaces where you can consciously release outdated identities, outdated vows and beliefs, attachments or contracts that you've made, and allow the new self to be reborn. In fact, somebody, if you would put in the comments, I'm allowing the new self to be reborn. And then there's alignment that is amplified. Notice how perfectly aligned everything has to be in order for an eclipse to happen. Spirit is whispering when alignment occurs, transformation is unavoidable. You may not like it, but it is happening. If you've been wavering between paths, maybe relationships or some kind of an inner truth, an inner revelation, this is the universe's nudge to choose alignment with your soul, as I wrote the other day, not your fear. And here's some personal practice I think that you can put in place for this evening. Write down what you're ready to let go of. Maybe it's fears, patterns, illusions. Burn or bury the paper as the moon starts to turn red. Maybe place a hand on your heart and whisper, I release what no longer belongs. I stand reborn in the light of the truth. And then sit in the silence as the shadow passes and feel your own shadow being embraced by love. Instead of cast out, your shadow is brought in close. And allow that healing to transpire. So this evening, again, write down what you're ready to let go of and consider burning it or burying it as the moon turns red, and bring that shadow in close and embrace it in love. All right, let's look at rooted. We're rewiring survival and safety. We've decided to look at survival and safety as we understand that the root chakra is the chakra for that. Loved ones, before we get into floating out into the clouds, or before we open up the third eye or soar into cosmic realms during this Spirit Expressing, we've got to do something that it may be less glamorous, but it's far more essential, I believe. We've got to get rooted, because if your foundation is shaky, everything you build on top of that begins to be wobbly and shaky. The house of your soul needs solid ground. And we know that the root chakra, the Muladhara, is your survival wiring. It asks primal questions like, am I safe? Do I belong? Does life hold me? And here's the real kicker to me. Most of the answers to those questions, they were written on your mind before you even knew ABCs. Psychologist and Bruce Lipton in Biology Belief reminds us that your subconscious programming is set between 5 weeks in utero and birth and age 7. Carl Jung would have called this the soil where your family's shadows get planted. We know of some of those things as ancestral traumas that are passed down in our DNA. They're passed on to us. It's said in the scripture that the sins of the father are passed on to the sons, the children. to 7 generations, it said. So if you were handed fear, you were handed scarcity, or the world, the idea that the world is unsafe, guess what? That tape, that loop might still be running and humming in your root system to this day. But here's the good news. Fear is not your birthright. Well-being is your birthright. Type that into the comments if you will. At least say it aloud. Fear is not my birthright. Well-being is my birthright. Fear is not my birthright. Well-being is my birthright. The source, the I am God, did not wire you for panic. The original operating system of your life is love. It is safety. It is joy. It is peace. It is abundant. And so here's the first point that I'd like to make, the autopilot of fear. And this will take us just a few minutes. We're going to look at the autopilot of fear. I know for a fact from my own life that fear is sneaky. It doesn't allow us to do certain things. It tries to paralyze us. And it doesn't always shout. Sometimes it's a hum. It's like static. It's just barely up underneath. Here's a little example. Your nervous system is like a smoke detector. When it's healthy, it only goes off when there's a fire. But when you're stuck in survival mode, the alarm is screaming every time you make toast. It's not just when the house is on fire. Religion and politics and even your family programming was whispered into your ear. You're not safe unless you obey. You don't belong unless you perform. Religion certainly taught that. And our family environments basically said to us, you have to do this in order to be safe. Scripture revoiced for me says that Spirit has not wired you for fear, but for power that creates, love that liberates, and a mind at peace with itself. Many of you will know that God has not given me a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. So I retranslated that. Spirit has not wired you for fear, but for power that creates, love that liberates, and a mind that is at peace with itself. That's really what it means to have a sound mind. Now, Alan Watts would have said this: love is not something you cling to, it's the water you're already swimming in. And once you recognize that, you're no longer living in fear. Once you realize that you don't have to cling to love, you don't have to cling to your value, you don't have to perform to get it, that you're swimming in the water of it already, you begin to cure yourself of the dis-ease and the dysfunction that was given to you by the world around you, the society around you. And the issue isn't that love or God is absent, it's that fear has convinced you the ocean, the world, is dangerous. And it's not. You've been convinced, kind of like the movie The Village. I don't know if you've seen that, and if you haven't, there's a spoiler alert. In The Village, there's essentially a lie that is passed down, a deception that is passed down that causes all of the individuals who are raised in that village to respond a particular way to the woods and to not leave the village. And many of us were taught that through religion. More of us were given fear than we were faith. Now, here's point number 2. The biology of belief and rewriting the root system. Dr. Bruce Lipton says that the cells don't obey genes, they obey signals. So there's 2 modes: growth or protection, expansion or contraction. If your root says you're not safe, your body lives tight, breath is shallow, the immune system becomes weak. But when you shift the signal to I am safe, I belong, I'm rooted, then the biology follows, the shoulders relax, metaphorically and literally, creativity flows, and then healing begins. I am safe, I belong, I am rooted. If you don't mind, put that in the comments. I am safe, I belong, I am rooted. See, the truth is that you've never been disconnected or separate from God. You were sold a bill of goods at a high price, but you have always been a part of the divine, and the divine has always been a part of you. You're irrevocably and eternally connected to it. Carl Jung would have said, until you make the conscious or the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Until you make the unconscious shadow side conscious, it will direct your life and you'll just call it fate. Here's a little metaphor. The subconscious equals soil. If it's rocky, the soil seed struggles to grow. Clear the soil, plant new beliefs, water with love, and growth becomes effortless. Somebody say, my growth is becoming effortless. Because this is not willpower, it's rewiring. You don't have to work harder to get into your level of freedom. You don't have to work harder to discover the power of the divine and live in it, because it's not willpower. It's rewiring. That's what we're doing today, is we're calling for a rewiring of the root chakra to regenerate, re-understand, restore what survival really is. Survival is not about just barely getting by. Survival leads to thrival once you have a revival of your true self. Now, here's what I would call point 2.5. It's the root rewired. We're rewiring the root from fear, Wi-Fi, to love fiber. So let me liken it this way, because I'm somebody who's a tech person. I like a lot of technology. And Carrie can tell you this. It's very meaningful for me personally that in our home, we have moved from Wi-Fi, which was fast, to fiber, which is like lightning, much faster. So when we move from fear Wi-Fi to love fiber, think of your biology like Wi-Fi. Most of us were given the password to Fear FM. Those of you who remember radio will appreciate this. Those of you who don't, you're used to streaming. Let me just say that FM preceded all streaming. You didn't have access to radio on satellite. Before XM, there was FM. Before FM, there was AM. AM gave way to FM. FM gave way to Sirius XM. And that process changed. But most of you were given Fear FM before you could even spell fear. We've been streaming anxiety. We've been streaming scarcity nonstop. But the root chakra is the upgrade portal. And it's in that portal that survival Wi-Fi can move to love fiber optic bandwidth. And now you're kicking. The downloads aren't taking as long. It's not taking as long to hear from the divine. And here's the big deal about it. You already have the hardware. You already have the hardware, and you're soft technology. You have the software. But here's the hardware. Put your bare feet on the ground. Experience the grass. Those of us who are in the Gulf area, you can go out and experience the sand. I did it yesterday. Was playing there at Paso Grill at Paradise Grill at Paso Grill. And I went out and put my feet in the sand at one point. Because when you put your bare feet in the ground, there's an experience you begin to feel. It's like plugging your nervous system into the USB port of Mother Earth. Electrons flow. Your cortisol begins to drop. Your body sighs with relief and says, I'm home. The mystics knew it long before scientists could measure it. Grounding is not superstition. It's biology plus divinity shaking hands. Grounding is biology plus divinity shaking hands, creating a partnership and working with that partnership. Now, here's point number 3, the spiritual reset. You don't fight fear. You dissolve it. You don't fight fear. There's no point in fighting it. You dissolve it. You don't argue with the dark. You turn on the light. Spirit is not anxiety, chaos, or scarcity. Spirit is power. Spirit is love. It's a sound mind, or a mind that's not at war with itself. I'm going to ask you to do something real quick. I'm going to ask you to practice this with me. Put your hand on your belly and affirm slowly, I am safe. I belong. The ground of being holds me. Come on, put your hand on your belly, just right there above the navel space, and just firmly say, I am safe. I belong. The ground of being holds me. Now bring your hand down just a little lower, just into the lap space. I am safe. I belong. The ground of being holds me. This reminds me of Alan Watts. I don't know why it does, but this quote comes up right now. You're already it. The joke is you've been searching for what you never lost. It's kind of the cosmic joke that we've been in search of it, and religion has helped us with that. The structures of our world have helped us to feel like we're lost. But the joke is that you've been searching for what you never lost to start with. Dolores Cannon said this, your higher self already knows this. You're just remembering it within your memory banks. Survival becomes trust. Autopilot ends and awakening begins. When I wake up to this, when I'm reminded of this, when I remember this, I'm reframing my life. And survival shifts and transforms into trust. The autopilot loop that I've been working on ends and awakening begins. Now, here's an embodiment practice that I'd like to invite you to. And I'm going to ask you to take just a moment, if you will, as the music is starting. I'm going to ask you to put your feet flat on the ground. If you have shoes on, consider removing them. Make that spine really tall. Imagine now, for just a moment, with your eyes gently closed. Imagine roots extending out of your being and into the earth. And we're going to go through a little bit of a breathing practice here. I'm going to invite you to inhale, I am rooted. Exhale, I am safe. So breathe in, I am rooted. Exhale, I am safe. And then inhale, I belong. Exhale, I am supported. Inhale, I belong. Exhale, I am supported. Now, with your eyes gently closed, and you're allowing the breath to come in, and you're inhaling, I am rooted. You're exhaling, I am safe. You're inhaling, I belong. You're exhaling, I am supported. Now visualize red light glowing at the base of the spine, steady, pulsing, alive, steady, pulsing, alive. I am rooted. I am rooted. I am safe. I belong. Breathing in and exhaling. Breathing in. I am rooted. Exhaling. I am safe. Inhaling. I belong. Exhaling. I am supported. Visualizing that red light glowing at the base of the spine, steady. It's pulsing there, alive and powerful. I'm rewiring, I'm realigning, I am activated, and now I'm aligning with the truth of my nature. I am grounded in the truth of who I really am. Feel that sense of groundedness now. Feel that sense of safety, not just surviving, but thriving. I am hooked up to the fiber, light speed, presence of the divine. Nothing missing and nothing broken in my life. Loved ones, you don't have to live on autopilot from someone else's fear story. That loop, that tape, it does not own you. Their story and declarations over your life, what they taught you, does not own you. You can honor your mother, your father, your grandmother, your grandfather, your auntie, your uncles. You can honor your immediate ancestors that birthed you into this world and still not agree with the belief systems that they had. I honor my parents. I honor those that were around me and helped to raise me. I honor them. but I disagree with most of what they believe about their limitations. Their limitations have become their lamentations, and their lamentations were trying to pass on some level of laminating the beliefs. The beliefs were written on fragile paper, but they laminated it so it would survive the weather. And I have decided to cut myself loose from it. So you do not have to live on autopilot from someone else's fear story. That loop, that tape does not own you. Your biology is not your destiny. Your past is not your prison. Come on, write that in the comments. My biology is not my destiny. My past is not my prison. At least declare that out loud, if you will. If you're not going to write it into the comments, at least declare it out loud. My biology is not my destiny. My past is not my prison. This week, as you move throughout this week, every time fear rises, pause, hand on your belly, and speak safety into your system. Say, I am rooted, I am safe, I belong. Let that be the loop. When that fear comes in, put that hand on the belly as a point of contact. Feel it and say, I am rooted, I am safe, I belong. I am rooted, I am safe, I belong. Because you're not here to just survive. You're here to thrive. You're here to live rooted and radiant, rewired in love, not fear. I said, you're here to live rooted and radiant, rewired in love, not in fear. You are here to thrive. You have not been given a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. And once again, here's my retranslation of that. Spirit has not wired you for fear, but for power that creates, love that liberates, and a mind at peace with itself. Spirit has not wired you for fear, but for power that creates, love that liberates, and a mind at peace with itself. I'm excited about this particular Spirit Expressing. I believe that this is a pivotal time, especially with it being on the heels of what we've just come through. With talking about living in frequency. We've changed our frequency. We've decided to tune in a different technology and a different level of frequency. We've said that we are being prepared, not punished, being prepared and positioned for a higher level of voltage of love, joy and peace, abundance and prosperity and well-being. We are like trees planted by the rivers of living water that brings forth its fruit in due season. All of us were given the spirit of power that creates, love that liberates, and a mind that should be at peace with itself. Here's what happens when we reroute and we allow ourselves to come into the truth of our biology, not being our destiny. The biology can be influenced by us, by what we believe. We're not trapped by it. It's not our prison. Our past is not our prison. Biology is not our destination, our destiny. The destiny that you have is a divine destiny, a purpose, a plan. And that plan is not mapped out in the way we think of plans here on the earth. That plan is that you just live fully and completely in the abundant life that you've been given. So we are aligned and we're activated. And we're living the truth of what it is for spirit to express itself through us individually. We let go of the need to impress, and we simply live the life that has been given to us to express. I hope in some way today has been meaningful to you. Allow yourself to move through the processes of rooting. I'm going to ask you to consider those who have not been participating in the meditations Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I'm asking you to consider making that a discipline during this Spirit Expressing. Here's why. Every week, we're going to have a specially attuned meditation that matches the chakra that we're talking about on Sundays. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, if you're not able to watch it at 6:30, maybe you get up later. Remember, there's a reason for that. It doesn't matter. If you get up later, that's fine. Go and locate it. It's on our YouTube channel and it's on our Facebook. there's no excuse. You can find it anywhere. You can find it on my personal page. You can find it on One Love Consciousness Movement page. You can find it on First Unity Spiritual Campus page and channels. You can find it on Rev John Scott on YouTube. Go and locate that meditation and allow yourself for about 30 minutes to sit in that, because we're going to resonate with this message, because it's a follow-up. And then on Thursday evenings, we're going to be circling back around on Thursday evenings on my personal channel on Facebook. We're going to be live for Midweek Connection. And I'm asking you to consider making a discipline to connect in those spaces so that we can actually really functionally during this season of Spirit Expressing this year, rewire and refire our minds to be aligned with and activated with the truth of our souls. So once you get the mind and the body and the heart in coherence, following the truth of your nature, your whole life's going to begin to change. You'll be manifesting left and right the kind of life that you want. So consider connecting in those ways. Also, those of you who are watching right now, whether you're watching One Love or you're through One Love or you're watching through First Unity Spiritual Campus, either one, our celebration service is going to be at 11 a.m., filled with wonderful music and a great space together as we continue to talk about the root chakra and realigning. Remember also this evening is that blood moon. Take advantage of the power that's coming off of it. There's a reason that we're connected to the nature around us. There's a reason for that. God, Spirit, speaks through the planets, the stars, and this planet Earth. So allow that to happen for you. Download, hook up to the truth. I love you so much. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for your willingness to live with and function in this high level of frequency and ultimately expand the consciousness of the planet. All right, my friends, I'm going to get up out of here now, and I invite you to give today in a way that you haven't before. Give out of faith and out of abundance. Give out of a cheerful heart. Give into this energy of Spirit Expressing. Consider maybe using the number 7 in your giving, because we have 7 weeks of this. Use the number 7. The number 7 is the number of perfection in numerology. So use that number 7. Also use the number 9, because it's the 9th month. It's September. It's the 9th month. And I invite you to consider giving today in a way that you have not before, and consider being a functioning, stabilizing partner with this community. Consider being a partner with this community and giving financially. All right, the ways to give are going to be on the screen on the way out. I'm going to get up out of here now. Go and make it a great day just because you can. I'll see you on Tuesday morning.